Hello guys, so welcome back to C Fashion Academy. Today I'll be teaching us how to cut an overlap dress, which can also be called a wrap dress. So please, I want you to make sure you watch to the end so as to uncover the secrets of what overlap dress, and make sure you click on that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Like I said, make sure you click on that like button so as to unveil all the secrets. Thank you. Okay, so today I'll be teaching us how to cut an overlap dress. Okay, now I'll be teaching us how to cut this particular one you are seeing right now. Okay, so look at it. You see that it is overlap. I call it functional because you can totally open it like a shirt. Okay, why those ones that you cannot open, I call it non-functional, which those ones actually needs what? Zip at the back. Okay, so these are measurements. We have the shoulder, which is 14 inches. We have the round bust, which is 9 inches. We have the under bust, which is what, 12 inches. We have the round under bust, which is 30 inches. The round bust, which is 34. Hip line 24. Round hip is what, 38, and gown length is what, 38. So we are going to use measurement now to construct this overlap dress. Okay, so first thing we do whenever we want to cut any dress is to do what? We fold. I think that's the first thing we do, is what? We fold. Okay, so now what are we folding with? That is the question. We are folding with what? Most cases, what we usually do is what? We fold with what? Highest circumference. Now, for the sake of this tutorial, for the sake of you not being confused, what I usually say now, your highest circumference divided by 4. In this case, our highest circumference is what? 38. Do you understand? Divided by 4, what do you get?
9.5.
9.5. Now, that 9.5, you can add from 7 inches and above to it. What do I say? I say 9.5, you can add from what? 7 inches and above to it. Do you understand? Now that 7 inches and above is for the what? Overlap. Do you understand what I mean? It's for the what? Overlap. From 7 to what? 10 inches. Now, even if you use 10, there's still going to be allowance remaining. Do you understand? But you are still at the what? Safer side. Okay, like what I said, your highest circumference divided by 4 plus what? 7 to 10 inches. So in this case, our highest circumference is what? 38 divided by 4 is what? 9.5. Plus 7 is going to give us what? 16.5. Okay, it means that we are going to fold anything not less than what? 16.5. Do you understand? Now, but by me looking at this particular material you're seeing, it is excess. Do you understand? So we are still what? It's still okay for us to continue like this. But when you are making use of your own material, you don't need to waste your material. Do you understand? You need to use this folding method to fold your fabric. Okay. Okay, so after you are done folding, next thing you are going to do is to do what? Please, first thing you are going to do now is to do what? You are going to mark out your what? Allowance for what? Overlap. Now, to mark out the allowance for overlap, see how we are going to do it. Please, I want you to know that overlap is of different types. Now look at this one. This overlapping is coming exactly at the end, at the edge. Are you seeing it? It's coming at the edge. Now some overlapping do stop here. Let me show you. Some overlap do stop here. Are you seeing it? Then now they will not extend with what? Extra rope. Do you understand? But this one is not stopping here, but what is extending to the what? The edge where the body stops. Are you seeing it? So in order to make this kind of overlap, so what are we going to do? We are going to be making use of the what? The under bust measurement. Now our round under bust is what? 30. Why are we making use of round under bust? As you can see, that is where we are tying it. Look at it very well. Are you seeing it? Are you seeing it? That is where we are tying it. So that is, look at it. The overlapping is coming towards that area. That's why we're making use of the what? Under bust. So the under bust divided by what? 4. Please, you divide by 4 as usual is what? 7.5. She? The under bust divided by 4 is what? 7.5. So that's what we are going to use as our what? Allowance for the overlap. 7.5. So mark out your 7.5. Okay, so after you are done marking it out, next thing you need to do is to do what? Take your rule and connect. Okay, so for those of us that will still ask me, how did we get this allowance? Is your under bust divided by what? 4. Okay, so after you finish marking out the what? Overlapping allowance, if you like, you can either do what? Fold it out or leave it like that. Do you understand? Okay, so next thing you are going to do, now look at what we are going to do. Our measurement and every other thing, we are going to mark out our normal pencil gown. Do you understand? Starting from where? Here. Are you seeing it? Starting from here. Okay, so let's start. from our measurement point is what? From shoulder to the what? Bust point. Look at it. From shoulder to the bust point is what? 9 inches. So from here, mark out what? 9 inches. Are you seeing it? Under bust is what? 12 inches. Hip line is what?
24.
Okay, 24 inches. Gown length is what?
38.
Okay, 38. And we add extra what? 2 inches allowance. So when you are done doing that, next thing you need to do is what? Take your rule and do what? Mark out a straight line. If you like, you can extend it to this point. If you like, you can use dots, dotted lines. Okay. Okay, as you can see, we are done. This is the what? The shoulder line. This is the what? The bust length. This is the what? The under bust length. This is the what? The hip line. And this is the what? The gown length. And this one is the what? The allowance. Okay. So now, next thing we are going to do is to do what? We are going to construct the what? The gown. As you can see, just a normal pencil gown that is overlapping. So we are going to do what? Construct the gown. So in order to construct the gown, we start from the what? Shoulder. Okay. Now, like I said, we'll be starting every measurement from here. As you can see. So from here, shoulder is what? 14 divided by 2 is what? 7. Now, we're going to mark only 7. No, we are going to add extra half inch. That is for what? Same allowance. So next thing you are going to do, take it down to any point. It does not have a specific point. Just mark out the sentence. 7 plus what? Half. This is to enable us get a straight line. Okay. So next thing you are going to do is to do what? We are going to what? Slant the what? The shoulder. You understand? As you guys know that nobody here, the shoulder is all of our shoulder. Nobody's shoulder is what? Straight. Rather, it is what? Slanted. So we call it the what? The shoulder slope. So in order to get the shoulder slope, I use what I call my what? Standard neck width. First of all, from here to here is what? 3 inches. Are you saying it? I mark it out. Then the shoulder slope I'm going to use is what? I'm going to use 1 inch. For female, I usually use what? From half to what? 1 inch, depending on how your shoulder is. Okay. So now mark out 1 inch. So now we have this point. Are you seeing it? And this point. So use it and construct the what? Shoulder slope by marking it out like this. Okay. So next thing we are going to do is to what? We are done marking out the what? Shoulder slope. Shey? Next thing we are going to do is what? Mark out the what? Construct the what? Armhole. And for us to construct the armhole, we need what we call what? The armhole length. And how do we get the armhole length? I have this simple method. The way I used to get my armhole length is whatever I have here exactly. Are you seeing it? 7 inches plus what? Half. That is the same thing I take down here. Are you seeing it? From here, please, not from here. 7 inches and what? Half. Are you seeing it? So when you reach at this point, take your rule and do what? Extend it. Now, for those of us that will ask me, are we extending it to which point? Please, you don't have any point you're extending it to now. Do you understand? Just rule a straight line. So next thing we are going to do, in order to finish the armhole construction, is to do what? To draw out the what? Armhole curve. And for you to draw out the armhole curve, we have this simple way of doing it. That is, place your tape like this, diagonally, mark out what? 1 inch. Are you seeing it? So next thing you are going to do is to do what? Construct your what? Armhole curve. That is by doing like this. Look at it. By curving it like this. Going through the what? 1 inch. Then like this. Are you seeing it? So we are done with the what? Armhole curve. But like I used to say, there is this thing I call the what? Armhole effect. What is the function of armhole effect? Armhole effect, let's say example, you normally see clothes that when you wear it, you see that armhole region so puffy and rumple. Do you understand? So if you really want to normalize that side, so that when you wear clothes, the armhole side will be what? Relaxed. You apply what we call the what? Armhole effect. So armhole effect is only applied in front of every cloth, not at the back. Do you understand? So for us to apply it here, what we are going to do is whatever we have here, divide it into 2. That is 7.5 divided by 2 is what? 3/4. Share? Okay, mark it out from here. Then from here, you have to what? Step back or step in with what? Half or 3/4 inch, depending on the kind of effect you want to give. But for the sake of this class, I'll be using what? Half inch. Are you seeing it? So next thing you need to do is what? You have this point, and you have the continuation of the curve. So next thing you need to do is to do what? Construct the what? Okay. Are you seeing it? Now, I have something I want to tell you. While we are cutting, whenever we want to cut, look at this thing. You first of all cut with the what original one that I marked first. Are you saying it? Let's say maybe the back, front and back is together. Do you understand? Even if it's not together, please cut with this one, such that after you finish cutting your back, you can now come and do what? Remove this one. Only what? In front, please. So next thing we are going to do is what? We are going to impute our body measurement. Do you understand? So we have the what? The round bust, which is what? 34 inches. Look at it. 34 divided by 4 is what? 8 and a half. Mark out what? 8 and a half. Then add extra what to it? Extra 3 inches allowance, 2 inches allowance. Now the same thing, we do the same thing on the what? Under bust. The under bust is 30 inches. So 30 inches.
7.5.
Okay, 7.5 divided by 4 is what? 7.5. Then add your extra 2 inches to it. Are you seeing it? Okay, next is the hip. The hip, which is 38, which is what? 9 and a half. Mark out your 9 and a half. Add extra 2 inches to it. Okay, then now we get to the down part of the gown. Are you seeing it? We get to the down part of the gown, which is, how do we get this down part of the gown? Like I used to say in every of my tutorial, whatever you have here, are you seeing it? Whatever you have here, that is your hip measurement plus 2 inches. Please take it down here. First of all, that is 9 and a half. Are you seeing it? Plus 2 inches. Then next you are going to do, in order to get the pencil curve of the gown, next thing you are going to do is to do what? From this particular point, are you seeing it? Step in with what? 1.5 inch. Are you seeing it? Stepping with what? 1.5 inch. Okay. So after you finish stepping in with 1.5 inch, next thing you need to do, as you can see, this thing has already given us the what? The shape of the what? Pencil gown. Next thing you need to do is to do what? Connect. Okay. As you can see, we've gotten the shape of the what? Pencil gown. Okay. So next thing we are going to do, as you can see, is to do what? Construct the neck. So for you to construct the neck, we usually construct the neck using the what? Neck width and what? Neck depth. Do you understand? Neck width is distance from here to here. That is how wide you, how open you want the neck to be, how wide you want it to open the neck. Do you understand? So why the neck depth is like how deep you want the what? Neck to be. That's, you want your cleavage to show or not. Do you understand? Depends on the what? Neck depth. Okay, so now the neck width we are going to use, please, I'm just going to use the neck width that I want. You understand? So any one that you want, you can actually use. Okay, but please, there's something I still want you to know, that is, when I said anything you want does not mean you use just anything, because the truth is that there is a neck width you use and there is a neck depth you use. Both of them will not correspond. Like both of them will never correspond. Do you understand? So for the sake of this tutorial, I'll be making use of 4 inches neck width from here to here. Are you seeing it? I've marked it. So when you mark it, please, next thing you are going to do is what? Get your what? Neck depth. Now, like I say, please, I've told you guys that whenever you are making an overlap, you need to be very careful with the what? Neck depth. If not, you end up exposing your bust to the world. You understand? Only if, except you want to really expose it. You understand? So what am I trying to say is that if your normal neck depth, that the one you normally like, is what? 6 inches, please, I advise you step up again to what? Extra 1 inch. Do you understand? Like make it what? 5 inches. If it is 5 inches, make it what? 4 inches. If it is 7 inches, make it what? 6 inches. If it's 8 inches, make it what? 7 inches. Always step up with what? Extra 1. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'll be making use of what? 6 inches depth. Okay, look at it now. You seeing it? My neck width is from here to here, which is what? How many?
4.
4. From here to here is what? 6. Okay. I did not say that you people should, everybody should use 6. So, okay. So next thing we are going to do now is what? We are going to curve out the what? Neck. We are going to construct the neck. Now look at how we are going to do it. Excuse me. We are going to connect it like this. Look at it. From here, going through this part. Are you seeing it? Are you seeing it? Then now you now go to the what? Under bust. Are you seeing it? Now look at it. From here to this side to the under bust. Are you seeing it? Okay, so remember the design we are making. This is the design. You seeing it? See it here, from here to the what? Under bust. Are you seeing it? Then as you can see, there is a distance from here to here. This is actually something like the waistline. Are you seeing it? Please, if you want, it's not compulsory. It can also start from here. Look at it directly from the what? Under bust. But it's advisable you kind of step down a little bit with what? 2-3 inches or 4 inches, depending on whatever one you want. Now look at what I mean. From here, are you seeing it? You can step down with what? 3 inches or 2 inches. Look at it from here. Are you seeing it? So next thing we are going to do now is, okay, please let me first stitch this one, the overlapping that usually have slit at the middle. Are you seeing it? That has opening. Let me first stitch this one. It's very important. So if you want to make that one, after you are done marking at this point, you're supposed to look at it. You're supposed to connect from here down to where the slit stops. Now look at it. Let's say your slit point from shoulder. Let's say your slit point, please, from shoulder is, look at it. If your slit point from shoulder is 34, are you seeing it? Mark out that 34. If your slit point from shoulder is 35, mark out that 35 on this line. Are you seeing it? Please, on this line. Okay, so next thing we are going to do, look at it. You are going to connect from here. Are you seeing it? To this point. You can either use your ruler or anything. Do you understand? Or your curve set. Now look at it, excuse me. Look at it. I'm going to connect it. I'm good with my free hand. That is the truth. Are you seeing it? I've actually connected it. Now, see the thing that is there. If you want this slit to appear, please, I advise you, just use like extra, just from here. Are you seeing it? Step in with what? Half inch or 1 inch. Look at it. Now let me step in with what? Half inch. So in that case, I'm going to continue my to this point. Are you seeing it? Are you seeing it? So that is it. Now, but if you still want to make an overlapping that you don't necessarily want this slit to show, you can also make use of this method. Now, don't trace from here to this point with this method. Do you understand? What you are going to do is what? Look at, this is the middle part, shade. Now, see what you are going to do. From here, depending on how close, totally close you want it to be, you can step back here. Are you seeing it? Let's say I want it to be close with what? 2 inches. So that when I really expand my leg, people still know that it is what? Open at that point. So I will use what? 2 inches. But if I want to close it totally that nobody will really know that there is that place is open, I can use what? 4 inches. Now let's say I'm using what? 2 inches. Now in that case, what I'm going to do is what? Look at it. I'm going to connect from this side. Are you seeing it? To here. Is it well understood? If I don't want it to open, I come out from this middle part, I step in by what? 2 inches, and I connect to this side. But if I really want the slit to open, look at it. At that slit point, connect from this place to the what? Slit point. Are you seeing it? Then next is what? Step in by here with what? Half inch and connect. That is it. Any questions? So what we are going to do now is to do what? We are actually going to what? Cut out the front. Then use it and do what? Cut the back. In some cases, you can actually cut the back first, then use it and cut the front. But for the sake of this tutorial, we are cutting the front first. Okay, now look at it. So which one am I going to cut out? The slit hole.
The slit hole.
Okay, so now look at it. From the allowance, now make sure you notch. Make sure you notch, because as we'll be placing it after cutting, we're placing it with this notch that is here. Okay, so next thing we are going to do, let's finish our cutting. Okay, so when you are cutting this side, please, I advise you to cut with the original armhole curve. Why? Because you are still going to use it and do what? Trace the back. Which after you are done tracing the back, then you cut off this one. Only what? In front. So now, as you can see, we are done. So please also remember, you also have to do what? Notch the what? The slit point. Okay. Okay. So before we use it to cut the back, let me first of all show us what we have in front. So now you have to do what? Open up these very points. Remember, at this point, you are going to put a rope, which we are going to use to do what? Tie it. Okay. Now look at it. Look at how the front part looks. Please always remember that you don't do this kind of mistake. For female overlap, it is the right that overlaps the left, not the left that overlaps the right. Do you understand? Okay. So now look at it. Are you seeing it? Make sure the notch is on the notch, like the left is on the what? Right notch. So as to get your real neck width. If not, see, let me tell you the truth. If you did not do this, obviously you're going to make a mistake. Now, what is that mistake you are going to make? See, your shoulder is going to increase. Let's say example now. Are you seeing it? My shoulder has drastically increased. Are you seeing it? So I'm telling you this thing so that when you be making a non-functional overlapping, since this one is a functional, the one you open totally, you don't even have problem with this. But if you are making the ones that you don't open totally, you are going to lock. Please never you lock it like this. Always make sure that the notch is matching before you do what? Lock. Please note that. Okay. Now look at this part too. Look at it. Are you seeing the slit? Are you seeing the opening? Very small and fine. Minimal. It is not too big. Okay. So that is it. So now here it's going to have a what? You're going to attach a what? A stripe, a rope on it. Do you understand? So that you use it and tie it. So now we are going to use this one now to cut out the what? The back. Okay. Okay, so now it's time to cut the back. So as we are cutting the back now, you guys will notice that this is the front. I actually folded the what? Overlapping. Are you seeing it? I folded it so as not to confuse us. Look at it. This is just more like a normal dress. Are you seeing it? So you must fold it in order for you to do what? Cut the back. Okay, now fold your material for the back. Are you seeing it? Fold your material for the back. Okay. Now, after you finish folding your material for the back, place this one. Are you seeing it? Place it on the back, just the same way I'm doing it now. Now use your pin and hold them together. Okay. Use your pin and hold them together. So next thing you are going to do after you finish the pinning, next thing now is what? Take your scissors, cut out according to the shape. Now, as you guys can see, I did not really add a zip allowance on this dress. As you can see, I did not add a zip allowance. Why? Because this is a functioning overlapping. That is an overlapping that I'm going to open wide, totally like a shirt. Okay. But if it is a non-functioning, that is the one that we are not going to open, the one that we are going to stitch on top. That means we need to add what? Extra 2 inches allowance at the back for zip. Now, are you seeing it? Cut out the back exactly the same way we've done here. Okay. Now, trace out the what? Shoulder. Okay. Now, after you are done, next thing you need to do is to do what? Construct the what? Back neck. Now, for you to construct the back neck, please, I advise you, really want you to know this. The back neck must be what? A high neck. The back neck must be a high neck. Just like every other dress, like senator and all these other ones. Do you understand? Now, what do I mean by high neck? The back neck, you are going to use from 1.5 to what? 2 inches. That is the depth. Okay. But for the sake of this particular class, I'm going to use what? 1.5. Okay. Now look at it. Are you seeing it? So what you are going to do is what? Construct the what? Neck like this. Connect this one to this one. Are you seeing it? Okay. So after that, next thing you are going to do is to do what? Use your scissors and cut it off. Please, there's something I really want you to know. If you go down deeper, it will affect your front neck depth. Sometimes some clothes, when you go down deeper at the back, like all this overlapping, it's kind of the back will be coming now to the front. Do you understand? Thereby exposing your bust. It will be as if you use a deep, like much deeper neck depth. Why? It's just a normal average neck depth you use. So please, last thing you need to do is what? We need to what? Observe the what? Armhole effect. Remember what I said. We are not going to cut off this one only in front. Do you understand? Only in front. So we are going to observe it now. Remember what I said. Armhole in front. The armhole effect that is applied in front. We do it in order to make the what? Dress balance at the what? Armhole region. As you can see, we are actually done with the what? Overlapping. Look at it. So next thing you need to do is to do what? Release it. But please, if you still want to add more fitting to your overlapping, I don't know. Or you can choose to add that to it. Do you understand? But for me, I think for now it's not really necessary for me. Then the dart I'm talking about, you can add our normal dart, and you can also add what? The back dart, that is the center back dart, in order to reduce the puffing at the back. But since it's something you tie, for me, I don't deem it necessary at this moment, but it is still okay if you apply yours. So you have to do what? Loosen it, remove the pins. Brother, how are you? What's happening? Okay, as you can see, I'm coming. Let me remember what I said. When you're overlapping, please always know that the right for female has to overlap. When you do your own, that the left overlaps, except it's your own style though, but officially it is not right. So I'm going to show us how this thing looks like. Okay, now this is the back. As you can see, it is actually what? Matching. Are you seeing it? Because I observe my word notch. That is why it's matching. So place it very well. So now look at it. This is very simple to sew if you really want to sew it. Now, if you are sewing using material that does not require lining, if you are using material that does not require lining, as you can see, it's very easy to sew. All you need to do is to do what? Lock the shoulder. Do you understand? Lock the two shoulders. That is, how do you lock it? Is by turning it like this. Are you seeing it? Lock it. At the end of the day, it appears neat in front. Then use your exact measurement. You understand? To lock the what? Body. Now, when I say the exact measurement, use your exact measurement. Or even if you want to add allowance, add a little bit of allowance. You understand? Add like maybe extra quarter inch on every side. Do you understand? It will help the your slit and your neck depth not to open up so much. Do you understand? And what next? You have to do what? Hem these parts. Are you seeing it? Hem it. What do I mean by hemming it? Assuming you weave it, then fold and do what? Sew. Are you seeing it? Do it on every side. Then on this particular side, cut out just like as if you are doing a band. Do you understand? In this case, you are not going to gum anything. Just use it and do a rope. Do you understand? Then that rope, you connect it to this side. Also, connect the same rope to this side. Then the final thing you do is what? Remember, as you are locking this side, you see as this thing is going towards this side, please make sure that you tack so that there will be opening on this left side. Are you seeing? This is where the rope is going to pass through. So that is just it. Just very simple. Then finally, make sure you hem the damn part. That's all. Is there any question?